The three-eyed Atlas is full of surprises. It seems to be developing a tail, but scientists cannot explain why this is happening. At this moment, an object weighing 73 trillion pounds is rapidly moving through our solar system at a speed of 124,000 miles per hour. And he is not of local origin. Scientists recorded extreme negative polarization in his light signal, something never observed in any comet. The object's trajectory aligns with Earth's orbital plane within 5 degrees and passes suspiciously close to Mars with a probability of less than 1 in a million. The object is quite large and aligned with the path of the planets orbiting the Sun. Harvard University astronomer Avi Loeb assesses the likelihood that this object is not entirely natural, estimating it at 30 to 40%. It is particularly alarming that during the recent government shutdown, NASA data ceased exactly when this object made its closest approach to Mars. 3AI Atlas breaks all the rules we thought governed interstellar objects. This should frighten you the most. If this object is artificial, then it has been watching us. Think about that. The most important question is whether it can be technological or still natural. We hope to learn more in the coming days. 3AI Atlas approaches from the direction where alien observers might notice Earth's transits across the Sun. According to Loeb's calculations, any civilization within 10 degrees of our ecliptic could discover our solar system through transit studies. Just as we find exoplanets, they would definitely know where our planets are in their orbits and which one harbors life. A 5-degree alignment of the object places it right in this detection zone. If someone sent this probe after observing Earth, it means they have been watching us for potentially thousands of years, waiting for the right moment to arrive. For months, people have been asking the same frightening questions about Tri-Eye Atlas. The responses are much more alarming than you might expect. This interstellar guest has 7 recorded anomalies that scientists cannot fully explain. Unlike the cigar-shaped Oumuamua or the typical comet Borisov, this object defies categorization. Let's start with the most alarming fact: its impossible mass. Weighing over 70 trillion pounds, Tri-Eye Atlas is about 6 million times heavier than the SpaceX Starship, our most powerful rocket. This mass estimate came from Harvard researchers who noticed something strange. Despite a visible gas cloud forming around it, the object's trajectory hardly changes. Usually, when comets expel gas, they move like a balloon releasing air, but not in this case. Its mass is so great that these expulsions barely affect its path. And then it gets even stranger. According to our understanding of the density of interstellar space, there is not enough rocky material to bring such a massive object into our inner solar system. Avi Loeb calculated that, based on the known distribution of matter among stars, we should have seen hundreds of smaller objects before encountering something so massive. However, that did not happen. As Loeb noted, there are not enough rocky materials in interstellar space to deliver such a giant stone into the solar system over the last decade. The timeline for the object's appearance raises even more questions. On October 3, 2025, 3 Atlas spacecraft passed within 18 million miles of Mars, close enough for our rovers and orbiters to capture unprecedented images. The Perseverance rover recorded something moving across the Martian sky, a slanted streak that did not match the usual star trails. But here is what is truly surprising. At that very moment when this historic flight was happening, many NASA websites and news channels went silent due to a government shutdown. The timing seems too convenient, considering that scientists around the world desperately needed real-time updates. What we managed to capture before the shutdown raises deep confusion. The object looks elongated, more like Oumuamua than a typical round comet. It has no dramatic tail that we would expect from something so active. Instead, he is surrounded by a diffuse coma of ionized gas, behaving differently from anything in our databases. The chemical composition adds another layer of mystery. Scientists have detected cyanide and carbon monoxide, which is not unusual for comets. However, data was also found indicating that the environment of the 3EI Atlas resembles conditions on Mars rather than typical comet formation areas. This suggests that the object may have originated from the planet's surface rather than from the icy depths of space where comets are born. The object's behavior around the Sun also contradicts expectations. On September 25th, a coronal mass ejection, essentially a solar storm, struck 3AI Atlas directly. Scientists expected this outburst of charged particles to significantly alter the comet, possibly even destroying it. However, subsequent observations on September 27th and October 2nd showed nothing dramatic. No fragmentation, no sudden appearance of a tail, just a gradual expansion of its shell, almost as if the object is more stable than any natural comet. What truly worries scientists is the polarization anomaly. When sunlight reflects off dust particles around comets, it creates a specific pattern that we can measure. Every comet we have studied shows positive polarization at large angles of view. 3I Atlas demonstrates negative polarization at minus 2.77% at a phase angle of 6.4 degrees, which is more extreme than any comet ever observed. This means that the dust around it is fundamentally different from anything we know in our solar system. The particles may be coarser, more irregular, or composed of materials we have never encountered. The trajectory of the object tells its own story. Unlike random space debris, an object called 3Is moves along a trajectory that almost perfectly aligns with the plane of our solar system, where all the planets orbit. The probability of this happening by chance is 0.02 or 1 in 500. Considering that he has already passed close to Mars and in March 2026 will pass near Jupiter, he finds himself at the right time to meet several planets. The cumulative probability of these coincidences is less than 1 in a million. From an engineering perspective, if you wanted to efficiently study several planets, you would design a trajectory that stays close to the ecliptic, calculating your arrival time to maximize encounters with the planets. This is exactly what the 3Is does. The object will pass within 33.5 million miles of Jupiter, close enough for detailed observations if it has any instruments. As the expert notes, if the trajectory was designed by extraterrestrial intelligence, then the 5-degree angle has a perfectly logical explanation. This is the optimal angle for observing the transits of main belt asteroids, which have an opening angle of about 10 degrees above and below the ecliptic. Some scientists propose an even bolder hypothesis. Dr. Susanna Fiener suggests that objects like the 3Is could be seeds of planets. Her simulations show that massive interstellar objects entering young solar systems can trigger the process of planet formation. Instead of growing for millions of years from dust, planets could form quickly around these ready cores. If this is true, part of Jupiter's mass may have come from an ancient interstellar visitor. The speed of this object is also concerning. Currently, he is moving at a speed of 37 miles per second relative to Mars, and near the Sun, he will accelerate to 42 miles per second, which corresponds to 150,000 miles per hour, enough to circle the Earth in 10 minutes. Although it is not unusual for interstellar objects, combined with its mass, it represents colossal kinetic energy. If this object were artificial, it would imply technologies far surpassing human capabilities. Size estimates continue to grow as new data comes in. Initial observations suggested something modest, possibly a few hundred feet in diameter. Now we are talking about a core roughly 3 miles wide. This is 3 miles of solid material, not counting the surrounding gas cloud. For comparison, this is larger than the asteroid that destroyed the dinosaurs. Imagine an object the size of a small mountain racing through space at a speed that could cross the United States in less than 2 minutes. The spacecraft of the European Space Agency are our last hope for answers. While NASA has suspended its observations, Mars Express and ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter continue theirs. The upcoming spacecraft JUICE will intercept the 3Is in November 2025. However, delays in data transmission mean we won't see the results immediately. These observations may finally reveal whether the object has any unusual surface features or internal structures. What is truly frightening is not a single anomaly, but the pattern itself. Each new measurement expands the boundaries of what is possible in nature. The mass of the object is too great, its composition too unusual, the temporal parameters perfect, and the trajectory too precise. Scientists use the term black swan. This event is so unlikely that it forces us to reconsider our assumptions. Avia Loeb states it plainly. Those who insist that the 3Is of Atlas is purely a natural object must explain all 7 anomalies through natural processes. So far, no one has done that. The object glows in a way that ordinary comets do not. Some predict that it may suddenly evaporate or shatter into pieces near perihelion at the end of October. Others believe it might surprise us again by remaining intact. The most troubling possibility? What the 3-eyed Atlas represents is what Loeb calls a Trojan horse, technology disguised as a natural object, the perfect camouflage, looking almost like a comet, but not quite. It is enough to be different to reveal the truth upon close observation, but similar enough to avoid immediate detection. Consider the consequences. If an advanced civilization wanted to study solar systems, what would be the best strategy to send probes that look like natural objects? They could collect data for millions of years, drifting between stars and occasionally passing through systems like ours. A 5-degree orbital alignment would make sense if the probe was designed for efficient interaction with multiple planets. Unusual resilience to solar storms would be expected from advanced materials. We do not assert that the three eyes of Atlas are definitely artificial. The scientific community still leans towards natural origins, but the accumulation of anomalies has reached a point where even conservative scientists are beginning to ask uncomfortable questions. This object forces us to confront possibilities we have always relegated to science fiction. As the three-eyed Atlas approaches the Sun, we have less time to study it. By December 19th, 2025, it will pass 167 million miles from Earth, marking our last good opportunity to observe it before it disappears into interstellar space. Whatever his secrets may be, we have only a few weeks to unravel them. After that, he will become just another mystery lost in the cosmic darkness. The universe has just become much stranger and possibly more populated. Whether the three-eyed Atlas is a natural or artificial object, it showed us that interstellar visitors can be much more massive, complex, and mysterious than we could have imagined. The next one may be even more unusual, and if this lesson taught us anything, it is that we must be prepared.